Hello everyone, this is the Super Wig Maker. Today I make another video of another order and I have to make something for a returning customer. The reason why I always say that they are returning customers is because when you have people that are satisfied with your work and they want to come back, they also trust you and they're willing to wait a big amount of time for them to get an order. So what happened is that the last time that I got a full range, like 9 to 10 months order line, it was mostly filled by people who are returning customers. This is why it's always about returning customers. So this time, this is again for Monique. She is a returning customer for so many times, and she wants two closures again. She sent me two different kinds of hair. 5x5 closure with straight hair and 4x5 closure with curly hair. Now the curly hair seems to be quite consistent. This is darker than that. I think this is a little bit more brown and this is weft. I'm gonna use this hair first because it's more than enough, so I'm probably not gonna be using this one. Yeah, I'm not gonna use that because this is like too much of hair already. And I'm gonna first deal with this because I have already made the base for the big one, and I'm gonna show you in time lapse how I made this. This is 5x5 and it has a curved back. There are a lot of things going on here. So I have prepped the first batch of hair. Added it in two halves. They are identical, virtually and practically identical. Yeah, they do have a little bit of a tail because some of the hair was a little longer, but that's why I blended it. And I'm gonna put this aside because it has the secure elastic, and I'm gonna use this first. So I'm gonna place it on my drawing mat that I use for and make sure that they won't move. Yeah, I'm gonna put two here and then I'm gonna start ventilating. I also am gonna show you how I made this really fast. I do it every time the same way. So the first piece is over, and I'm having this bag over here because I want you to be able to see the texture of the whole thing. Like, this is very fluffy, and it's also wiry. Although it's straight, it's also wiry. So you can see the knots over here. They're kind of obvious, and this is a paper white background. Every time I have to repeat that. She wanted a rather light density. I have to say that when you work with really thick hair like that, getting the density correct is kind of tricky. Like, the base looks pretty nice, the parting looks wide enough, and if I blitz the knot, it's gonna be even wider. But the whole thing looks like, look how thick that looks, how much body does it have. And of course, the extra density all around the perimeter. As you can see, it's pretty thick, and it's pretty enough to hide anything beneath that ribbon. And yeah, I'm gonna blitz this, and I'm also gonna have to make the second one. So we're not done yet with this order. Free parting everywhere. She can do whatever she wants. This super coarse and wiry hair that doesn't group and bundle so much. It's kind of easy, you know. This hair doesn't tangle easily, so it also doesn't have a huge problem on the root area where we have the returns. These little things, they don't create such a problem. She can even part that to the side, which is pretty close to here. The only thing would be problem to hide this one over here, but what can I do about that? It's pretty wide. She can even part it here and get away with it. See? All the way here. Not so sidewise, because this is not possible to hide. So up to here as well, you can see it's possible. High definition hairline. You see smaller knots. Half definition, half definition. And I'm gonna make the smallest one, and I'm gonna show you that as well. It's practically the same thing. And yeah, I'm gonna have to bleach the knots as well. And this time I have to make sure that the knots don't turn too light. It's the same lady that I made the previous closures, and they looked perfect against my pale skin, but against her black skin, it looked... I have yellow paint on my hands. It's from my printer. Against my pale skin, it looked perfect, but against her dark skin, I'm sorry, it looked hideous. Like, the yellowness was so obvious against her skin because she had like a darker African American skin, and it really picked the difference so much. And that yellow literally looked like piece yellow. Against my skin, it didn't have that much of an issue. So I have to make sure that this time I'm just gonna bleach it mildly, and also make sure that it turns into a medium brown. Alright, so I did the second base, exactly like the first one. And I'm gonna use the curly hair because this is what she requested. And I see that I have a weft and some bulk hair, and at the same time, this is darker and this is lighter. I'm not gonna use these two because I have already prepared the other ones. These were like that. I brushed them. I used my heating tool to straighten them because this is the only way to make it workable easier. And as you can see, this is darker than that. You can see the difference. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna blend these two because it's gonna make a beautiful blend. She didn't say anything about the color itself, because you can see that this and these are different colors. But I'm not gonna touch this. This is identical to that. It's just that I straightened it. So when I wet it, it's gonna turn back to this. And this was... this is lighter than that as well. But anyway, this is wefted, so why waste it? I mean, if I cut it from here, I already have bulk hair. Why do I need to cut this from the weft? She can use this on something else if she wants to, or she can use it on a future piece when I'm gonna have to cut the hair off. So now I'm gonna have to blend these two just to make a beautiful blend. And I'm gonna need my big palette brush. I have already showed you how I'm combining the hair. First I'm gonna take half of this because it's too much. Place it over here. Take half of it. Also, when I was straightening it, I also discarded the super short strands, so they already are out. This is why you can see this is very beautiful and healthy body. It's here first. And I have to make sure that they're both lined up correctly. And now I'm gonna do the exactly same thing that I keep doing every time when I want to blend the hair, and start blending it and brushing out the blending thing. So you see that it starts blending pretty nicely. I'm gonna do this outside the camera because it's a little time consuming. It's gonna take me like 1 or 2 minutes, but I have already showed you this. Twisting it like that, brushing it out, and brushing the whole thing out. Twisting it, progressively taking more hair from here, brushing it out, and brushing this out as well. I don't need a hackle for that. Twist a small area, a little bigger, even bigger, and the rest of it. It's like I'm wrapping the hair around itself. So the smaller one is already finished, and this is how it looks. I didn't over bleach it this time, and let me just show you this as well. The mixture that I did is not visible, but it has dye inside the mixture, number 6 dye, so it's a mild brown. Also, this is the curly hair, and it's still wet a little bit. See that? The density is rather light, but not too light to the point that it's gonna look... The knots might be visible against my skin, but this is tricky because my skin is super pale and the lady doesn't have this kind of skin. So it's very important for me to remember, like, and yeah, the knots are indeed brown. So what I have to do now is I'm gonna keep this in the loop until it gets and this is the straight one, which is a little bigger as well. I think this turned slightly thicker. Let me just yeah, it might look a little thicker because the hair is thicker, but I'm pretty sure that the density is just right. Knots are mildly bleached again. Don't judge it against my skin. They still don't look that obvious, even though my skin is quite pale. Hairline is full high definition. It's feathered out. It looks quite natural. Okay. Pretty natural. Alright, I think I need to remove it from the hoop because it starts collapsing on itself. Something like this is the curl pattern. This is the hairline. I'm not really going to part it too much here because I already did that, because I don't want to brush this. You don't brush curly hair ever, because it's gonna turn into huge fluff.